Last video we talked about how energy can be transferred from one object to another, but what we've actually discovered is that energy can change forms as well. So let's look at this example of someone playing a violin. As they move their hand and move the bow back and forth, they're using kinetic energy to move the bow. But then as the bow moves along the strings, we have sound energy that's created. And that's what lets us hear the music at the end. So when energy changes from one form to another, from, for example, kinetic to sound, we call it an energy transformation. So an energy transformation is when energy changes from one form to another. Energy changes from one form to another. And again, we can use flow diagrams to show how energy is transformed, just like we use them for how energy is transferred. Let's look at a few examples and we'll draw a flow diagram to show the energy transformations. So the first situation here is a toaster. And when you cook some toast in the morning, what you're doing is converting electrical energy which came from the power point originally, and you're transforming that electrical energy into heat, and that's what cooks the toast. And the orange parts of the toaster that light up and actually warm up, they're called the heating elements. So that's where the transformation happens. Okay, another example here is listening to music on your headphones. And there are a few energy transformations happening here. We start off with chemical energy that's stored in your phone's battery. And then that gets transformed into electrical energy, which moves from your phone right through the wires to the speakers in the earbuds. So electrical energy in the wires. And then in the speakers, a speaker has a vibrating section. Normally they're covered up, but they look a bit like this, and they vibrate back and forth, and the sound comes out from them. So we had electrical energy that gets converted to vibrations back and forth, which is kinetic energy of the speaker. And then because the speaker is vibrating, that causes sound energy, which is what we hear. And that travels through the air. Lastly, we'll look at this situation here with a wind turbine. And this is just to show that we can actually have a combination of energy transferring and transforming, depending on the situation. So we can have transfers and transformations. So when a wind turbine is making clean energy to power some houses, we start off with kinetic energy in the air. Because when wind blows, that means that gas particles in the air are moving along quickly. But then those gas particles push onto the blades of the wind turbine, but it's still kinetic energy because the moving air just causes the fan blades to move as well, to spin around. So the kinetic energy of the blades. But then as the blades turn, they turn a rod inside the wind turbine, which causes the actual turbine itself to spin around. So we have kinetic energy of the blades, again that's transferred to kinetic energy, but now of the turbine. And lastly, the turbine is used to create electrical energy or electricity. So we've had a transfer and then another transfer, but now we have a transformation. So we have electrical energy at the end, which is then passed through the wires and off to power some homes.